Today our story begins in a very unusual way because someone said that he simply hates women and is also late. Meanwhile, the girl in a black dress was already there and asked if the person was embarrassed by the fact that he was late on his first day of work. A lady with red hair just walked into the office and was simply shocked by how busy everyone was with work. It seems that they are in real panic because someone made a serious mistake in the report, and an hour later they had to hand over the work to another team. They just shouted at the guy, if he doesn't have time to complete the work in an hour, then everyone is screwed. But it could even take a whole week. All the same, they decided to come to the guy, he is a deputy named Pak, and asked to check this report, citing the fact that there might be an error. This damn megabrain sat down in a chair and began to carefully reread everything that was written here. Suddenly, he simply adjusted his glasses and asked me to send them this file. Of course, they would do it immediately. And so he turns on his super smart guy mode again, only now he checks the report on the computer. The guys behind asked how long he was going to check the report, and the guy on the right thought that he could help him with the check. Suddenly, Mr. Park simply says that he has everything sorted out. He only printed out the edited pages so that they can use them. The guy in the blue suit started to leave with a ton of papers, but the guy decided to ask if it was probably difficult for him to constantly help people from other departments like this. One of the management positions has been empty for half a year now, and it must have been difficult for Mr. Pak to cope with all this work. But the boy couldn't even get to know the girl normally just because he was working overtime. Suddenly, a girl appears. She is a local manager and asks if Park Min-jun will go to the meeting this Thursday. In such cases, Puck simply suggested meeting after work and going somewhere. The lady had never been to such places before, and the boy simply leaves, realizing that he definitely has no problems with girls. She just started smiling and said that he should definitely go there, because there would be people from the provinces there. She has been trying for a very long time to convince him that Puck should go to the meeting, but it seems that he is interested in something completely different. Suddenly, he just turns away and says that today is already Thursday, and he needed to finish his weekly report. Still, he says that he will try to find time for this event, and the girl for some reason began to threaten, saying that if he doesn't come, she will create a mess here. Of course, for this guy, order in the documents is extremely important. He just sorted everything today. He says that he will come, but now he had absolutely no time for empty talk. The lady decided to call him Mr. Min Ming and laughed at the fact that he was very busy. Well, then she was going to leave. Next, the action moves to the hotel, and now they will tell us the real reason why Puck hated girls. The guy was just sitting quietly in his room when suddenly a girl came and asked if maybe he liked her. If this was really true, then she asked him to never forget this basketball game. At first, she asked to play not like a real master of sports, but then she apparently didn't care at all and said that he could play as he wanted. Then the basketball game began, and it seems that Puck was a really cool player back then and didn't even give the girl a chance to win. And then they show us a guy who just calmly plays music in his headphones. He just wanted to quietly lock himself in the room so that no one would disturb him for a while. And it seems that the restroom became just a great place. And then they tell us that Pak was born with some kind of super ability. He just heard everything much better than others, which is why just a woman's breathing could begin to irritate him. Then they tell us that in high school, everyone watched videos about how to play basketball. Everyone tried to learn, but at that age, no one knew what to do. But for Puck, everything was much worse than you might think. His breathing and hearing, maybe even his vision. They worked 150%, to such an extent that he could even understand how long ago the person had visited the bathroom. It was then that he decided to take classes that would help him stay calm. But even here, it turns out there were girls. If there is at least one girl on the bus, then this is a terrible situation for the main character. Public transport is simply terrible for him. He was embarrassed to even answer the phone. The first thing he did was rent an apartment next to the company he worked for, so that there would be no unnecessary meetings along the way. But even at this damned interview, the girl was present and decided to play basketball, of course by chance. It seems that this curse will never leave our boy. In such cases, he asked to take him to the company management department. Of course, he had constant overtime and also hard work, but he still has no personal life, so there is no point in complaining. In any case, this is much better for him than constantly communicating with girls. In order to stop wanting to constantly play basketball, he has to listen to the sounds of nature or music. While Puck was simply thinking about his terrible situation, suddenly someone interrupted his thoughts and called him over. It was some old guy who asked if the pack was going to the document room. He urgently needed to show him something. It turns out that the position of the employee who is supposed to work with Puck has been empty for half a year. So they decided to hire a new person and let Puck get to know each other. Suddenly, a girl with red hair appears and says that she is very pleased to meet him. Her name is Su Ming. She apologized for her appearance. She was just late and ran, The girl hoped that they would work together. Of course, this was just an incredible shock for the main character because now his junior employee became a girl. The girl just sat calmly at the table and pretended to be busy with something while the main character was already writing a whole report for her. She complained to her boss because he had long asked that his partner never be a girl. She wouldn't be able to last even a month here. But the boss couldn't believe that he treats girls so badly, let him take care of her and become a good mentor for her. Puck simply had no words. At this rate, he would definitely go crazy. He looked at the girl, and if we conclude that she is a new employee, then she must be 5 years younger than him, which means she is either 24 or 25. She was quite suitable for our boy. Excellent appearance, beautiful face, and athletic uniform, as well as her appearance. Since he had super strong hearing, he decided to look at her breathing, but the lady thought it was too strange. When Sumin thought that Sunbai was acting strangely, he immediately fell out of his chair because the girl simply misunderstood him. Well, damn it, all the items fell off the table, now we have to clean up. And this psychopath is really obsessed with cleanliness and is going to immediately clean up his desk. The girl also decided not to stand aside and helped him. Sumin was surprised when she found an English textbook, but the main character was surprised by something completely different. Suddenly, Suming finds another strange book and thinks that it is his personal diary. Without thinking for a long time, Puck simply snatches this book from her hands. Is it really there that he keeps all his terrible secrets? All the same, in the message, the boss decided to see what his new employee was capable of and gave her a probationary period of 1 month. The main character simply agrees and decides to teach the girl all the basics. Now Park had to spend a whole month with Sumin, but it was just terrible because the lady talked too much. He simply brought her to the archive and told her that the management company here is responsible for this. To be brief, all the data they have should be stored here. All the data from the very foundation of the company has been stored here, so Pak warned her not to touch anything again. All she will need to do is just check the documents. He has handwritten data. The lady listened carefully to her sunbae. Suddenly, some damn Puck starts yelling at her, telling her no, but the girl didn't touch anything here at all. The situation turns out to be a little different. The handle in this archive is broken and it cannot be opened from the inside. It seems that now our guys will remain in this kind of bunker. The girl didn't take her phone with her and started knocking on the door to call someone, but it's useless. The walls here are very thick and equipped with a fire safety system. What a shame that the main character didn't take a phone with him either. He simply talks about how the luggage delivery should arrive in 2 or 3 hours, and then the doors should open. The girl simply said that she was glad to hear this because she thought that she was trapped, and now she would simply die here. But Puck still did not see anything good in this situation. The boy would not be at all happy with the situation in which he found himself, but the girl decided to take the initiative and try to open the door. He clearly understands this situation when he stays with a girl in the same room. The whole point is that he cannot simply not play volleyball. And now, when they both found themselves in such a closed room from which it was simply impossible to get out, the boy found himself simply in a terrible situation. Moreover, he ended up in this room with an incredibly beautiful girl, so it was definitely a real trap. The girl had already checked the lock and realized that it was very old, but she had to figure out how to open it. Suddenly another employee appears who needed the help of the protagonist, namely with documents, so he came to his usual workplace. Only now our hard worker is not in place, which is extremely surprising. Where did he go? The girl in the background warned him not to approach the main character so often, because others might think that they were dating. But the point here was completely different. Only Puck could cope with such a difficult task. While those two tried to guess where the boy was, he meanwhile sat in the archive and tried to understand what he should do. While he thought he was trapped, the girl decided to start a dialogue saying that they both forgot their phones and were actually very similar. But as soon as he clearly saw that he wanted to play volleyball, he had to somehow manage to hide. The girl was simply talking about how she really wanted to get a job here, and also found out that there were various clubs here. Did the girl really mean camping or all sorts of clubs? Suddenly, the girl just got up from the floor and asked her sunbae if there were any dance clubs here, because she simply loved to dance. He couldn't understand what the hell she was doing and asked her to sit down, while in his thoughts he continued to think about what happened to her. She didn't understand such a strange reaction because she just wanted to show what she had learned in her lessons, but Puck sat and thought if this company had not yet abandoned this tradition. She turns out to have too much energy and simply begins an interrogation on the topic of what university the main character graduated from. For example, she is Korean. Park just sits and does not understand what he should do now. He told about some university that he graduated from. It turns out that the girl knows about it because a new building was recently built there. It seemed to him that this was a hasty decision. The boy thought that he just needed to calm down because the girl simply had such a character, and Su-ming continues to ask what books he even reads. She asked if the guy liked to go to bars, and then Puck already realized that his patience would soon run out. From so many questions and a beautiful girl next to him, his brain will soon simply stop working normally. Suddenly, he says the phrase "I give up," and in the next frame we see how he is already starting to play volleyball with this lady. Whatever one may say, they will have to stay here for another 2 hours. There are no CCTV cameras here either, and the walls are too thick to hear how the volleyball game is going on. It's just that the main character was already in this situation and did not know what to do. Suddenly, he was returned to the real world, and the girl asked if everything was okay with him, maybe he too. The boy was shocked, to put it mildly, and thought that she managed to hear his heartbeat. How is this even possible? And while he is thinking about how to act in such a situation, he cannot just play volleyball with the girl he sees on the first day, and at this moment she declares that she will gladly help him with his problem. Suddenly she takes out some strange jar and hurries to open it as quickly as possible. What is it all about? She took a sip from this bottle and then handed it to Puck, but he doesn't understand at all what she wants. The girl simply said that she knows that he also wants to drink it. If he needs it, he can take it, and she has more. But the main character began to deny everything. Suddenly, the boy started screaming, saying that he was not going to do anything with this bottle, and the girl immediately understood everything. There was a small mistake, and now the girl was terribly embarrassed in front of her sunbae. What a horror. Now the main character feels like a real idiot because as soon as she yelled at the girl, she stopped talking. There was only a little time left to wait. Soon everyone would leave for lunch, which meant that they only had about 1 hour left to stay here. With her own hands, the lady constantly reached for the bottle, and then he still realized that the girl needed to go to the restroom. In response, the main character simply yelled at the poor girl and said, "Can't she just wait until they are released from here?" But the girl started crying and said that they had already been here for too long. Damn it! The main character urgently needed to clear his mind and not think about anything at all. Of course, nothing works out for him. A girl appears right before his eyes, standing in the middle of the basketball field. It had already turned into damn madness, and the boy thought that if they didn't get out of here soon, they would have very big problems. He just tried to make sure that she could stay here for a long time. There was essentially no other choice, and the girl simply agreed. Puck kept telling her to train her willpower, but she was already tired of enduring all this. It became unbearable to be in this room. Quite a lot of time had already passed, and the girl began to panic, telling her sunbae that soon she simply wouldn't be able to be here anymore, but the main character still told her to wait a little longer. But Su-min just started crying because she has been here for too long. Let the boy let her calmly do what she wants. Her hysteria continued for quite a long time, and Mr. Park no longer even knew what to do. After which the main character still agrees to fulfill her request. It seems that the girl is worried whether he will deceive her. But he says that everything is fine. They are not going to tell anyone about this situation. The next chapter begins with the fact that they were still sitting in this room. The girl just woke up and saw the guy's hand. When suddenly, with the face of a real Sigma, he tells her to move out of the way. It seems that it was too scary. But no. Everything turns out to be much simpler than it seems. He just needed to open the shredder door. But the lady didn't understand why he needed it. She asked why he was doing this, when suddenly he began to remind her of what he said yesterday, about how their team uses the archive. And quite recently he changed the garbage bag in it. It was strong enough that it definitely wouldn't tear. From such a proposal, the girl of course begins to cry, but she still had no other choice, so she agrees. The last thing he says is that this will remain their secret, and no one will know about this situation. Still, the door to the archive opens. People were simply shocked that the main character had been sitting here for so long. But he said that he had only been here for a short time. Apparently he was running around and didn't even notice how the door slammed. After which he comes out with this garbage bag, and it seems terribly awkward for him, but much worse for the girl. He asked the girl to come up to him, and now she felt awkward. She said that he didn't need to do this because she could throw away that bag herself. She must know where the garbage collection point is. It would be too strange if they went there together. He just made a very scary look and said that the girl should wait here. He will come soon. And in parting, Su-min simply said that she was terribly sorry. Then the elevator doors closed, and the main character is happy that he managed to get away from her, because now he really wants to play volleyball. He just can't stop thinking about the strange situation that happened in the archive. The boy simply stood with his back as if he were a security guard, but thanks to his super hearing, he still managed to catch everything that was there. He needed to stop just thinking about it when suddenly the elevator doors opened. It seems that the boy was too surprised that someone else came there. Why the hell did Su-ming appear and say that they urgently needed to play a volleyball match? After which she simply pressed the elevator button to close the doors. Of course, this horror happened only in the boy's head. It seems that now he will have nightmares. In the next shot, the guys were just sitting and not really looking at each other. She wanted to say something to her sunbae, but he immediately replied that she should go and eat alone. He has important things to do now, so he will come for lunch later. The guy said that he was warned that in honor of the fact that the girl became their new employee, there would be a welcome party, and the restaurant there was clearly not cheap, which means the food was delicious. Of course, Suming was simply shocked that they decided to throw a party in her honor. She didn't expect this at all. Next, the actions move to the moment when the holiday has already begun. Everyone welcomed a new colleague named Su Min. Toasts were made in her honor that in the future, she would be able to become a deputy chief or manager. In short, everyone hoped that she would be able to climb up the career ladder. The boss announced that the talent show was about to start, and so Our Lady decided to dance a dance that she had learned in her lessons, but our main character thought that she was just laughing. Having already drunk enough drinks, the girl began to have fun and shout loudly. Puck just sat next to her all this time and understood perfectly well that she looked like a child, only big and very beautiful. And all this time, it turns out that the lady with blue hair who was at the beginning of the story was sitting and asked if Park Min-jun really had a new employee. She noticed that every time a new employee arrives, they start a party, and that lady was very beautiful and sweet, but the main character considered her just a good employee. While pouring him another glass, the girl noticed that the guy was acting too nice and serious at the same time. While the girl was trying to get Puck's attention, the new employee was shocked by this behavior, and the boy next to her told them to stop the drama. This girl constantly called our main character cute and offered to drink more drinks, and our guy just hated being called that. And on the other side sat his new employee, who also wanted to drink drinks with him. Let him eat for now and she would pour the drinks. And now our boy is sitting next to two beautiful girls and trying to understand what the hell is going on here. These damn girls just surrounded him from all sides, and what should he do in such a situation? He can't just get up and leave the party. The next chapter continues at the same moment. The girls tried to get the attention of the main character, but he simply did not understand what they wanted from him. The lady with blue hair did not understand why the new girl decided to intervene in their conversation. The main character thought that she could become an excellent opponent in volleyball, and the girl was also very rich.
The girl with red hair sits that did not engage in conversation but simply offers the main character a drink. She was still young, and that she would also be a tough opponent.
The girls just start arguing among themselves because each one wanted her to get the main character. And here is the boy himself who found himself between two fires and now doesn't know how to escape from here. As a result, the one with blue hair just starts yelling at Sumin because she has absolutely no respect for her elders and speaks to them as equals. In turn, Sumin did not understand what she said wrong because she just wanted to pour drinks for her sunbae. Then the most ordinary scream began. She could not understand her dissatisfaction because she could easily drink drinks with him. Suddenly, the realization comes to her that there were too many drinks and she shouted too loudly. She looked at her strangely because her face looked like she urgently needed to go to the restroom. The main character asked her not to be so serious because the girl was still a newbie and did not know at all what her norm in drinks was. It seems that Su Ming was really ill and the boy asked her to help her get to the restroom. But she's too tired to go anywhere, so let Min Jun just take her himself. Of course, he didn't like this idea, but who else besides him would care about this girl? Well, there's nothing to be done. The actions are transferred to the moment when the volcano erupted, and the main character tried to find words of support. Of course, it didn't work out well for him. But she seemed completely happy, because today she was able to show off her coolest talent in front of her bosses, and they seemed to like it. He simply reminds her that she felt bad, and perhaps her talent was not appreciated by her superiors. Remembering the number of drinks, the volcanic eruption begins again. The girl asked him for forgiveness, and for another minute because she felt bad again. The main character thought that all this was real madness, and he simply could not believe that this was really happening. Su Ming began to apologize again for the fact that because of her, his party was canceled. But it seems to him that it doesn't matter at all. The girl's health is much more important. After drinking so many drinks, everything hurt terribly, but it seems that she is already better than before. The main character is not going to tolerate such terrible behavior, even despite the drinks, and told her to stop acting like a little child. Let her better get ready and go to her home. Then he will explain everything to her. She now needed to return home and rest so that she could show up at work normally tomorrow. She even felt a little awkward because Sunbae cared so much about her. The girl simply smiled and agreed with him. Just look at this joyful face. On the advice of the Sunbae, she leaves and the main character asks her to take care of herself. It turns out that by chance, when he touched her lips, a lipstick mark remained on his hand. Still, that girl was simply incredible. She clearly invited him to play a volleyball match. He just couldn't believe that there was a lipstick mark on his hand right now. How could he get such a reward for himself? Suddenly something happens that makes the boy stop looking at the trophy and be very surprised. Sumin unexpectedly returned, but why the hell was she here again? And why did she have such a strange image? And the girl simply decided to remind him of those moments when the main character helped her and how he supported her when she was feeling bad. She was terribly ashamed that he had to help her, so she was going to return the old favor. She reminded him of the same incident when a trace of lipstick remained on his hand. If so, now she can calmly play Monopoly with this guy. It seemed to him that this was too much and he should stop all these board games, but it seems that it was already too late. The guy could not stop the game of Monopoly when suddenly a strange sound was heard from the side of the girl. She was looking for Su Ming because their argument was not over yet. And now she was finally able to see the real reason why she ran away. She just wanted to play Monopoly with the main character as soon as possible. Just look at Mr. Pak, who still can't stop playing volleyball normally. Our boy is just thinking about the fact that he ended up in this situation completely by accident. And then a simply terrible thing happened, because these two girls just started playing Monopoly, and now Mr. Park simply cannot understand whether this is a dream or whether everything is happening for real. Although it doesn't matter at all, because he won't be able to simply leave such a situation, which means he'll have to play Monopoly with them. Damn it. Everything happened again in his abnormal head. He was already sick of these constant thoughts. He wanted to listen to the sounds of the waves in order to calm his thoughts, but his headphones turned out to be broken. Perhaps at the moment when he dropped them and the breakdown occurred. Damn it. Why did this situation decide to happen to him right now? And it was because of the girl with red hair that his entire table simply turned upside down. When suddenly Su Ming appears and tells the main character to quickly finish all his business and return to the table to drink more drinks. Of course, he was simply shocked that this girl came here again, but she just came at the most inopportune moment. Another natural disaster occurred, and this time it was a flood. The girl with red hair was simply horrified by what happened. He was just trying to understand if all this was happening in his damn head, although no, it was definitely reality. But Su Ming asked what the hell was going on here. Realizing the seriousness of the situation, the main character tries to do at least something to correct the situation. But how can something like this just be taken and corrected? The girl also realized what had happened here and hurried to get away from here as quickly as possible, but Puck tried to stop her. But as soon as he went out into the corridor, he no longer saw the girl there. When he returned back, he simply sat down on the ground and thought that his life was now simply over. And so the actions are transferred to the next day. As if nothing had happened, everyone was calmly working in the office. Puck was also at his workplace and diligently clicking on the keys. But still there was one change. Su Ming was not at her workplace. Our boy had not seen her for several days. He thought in his head that she didn't come precisely because he did everything wrong. And then the boss appears and asks if he really thinks why the girl wasn't at work. Of course, Puck is frightened by such an unexpected appearance and asks when he managed to come so quickly. But the boss was just joking, saying that he really managed to get attached to that girl so quickly. It turns out that everything was not so bad. It's just that Su Min went to a group training, so she will be absent from her workplace for some time, where they train new employees. He simply asked that Pa manage to deal with all these documents today, and of course he agrees. But for now, the main character is only thinking about how he will explain the situation to his new girlfriend. After all, he was completely wrong in this situation. He was going to accept absolutely any punishment for what he had done, but before that, he needed to have time to complete all the work that he had. Then it was already late evening and our boy fell asleep among the documents. It seems that there was really too much work. Damn it, he managed to fall asleep while he was sorting the documents. What time is it now since no one went into the archive? He managed to get a great night's sleep. What the hell? The girl turns out to be behind him and asks if he got enough sleep. The main character, as if without a catch, says that everything was just fine. And while he continued to take the necessary papers, the guy still realized the fact that Su Min was here. But just what the hell is she doing here, because she should be at training now? She asked her sunbae for help so that he could tell her where to put these documents, but he still doesn't understand anything. It turns out that the girl simply started doing his work and pretended as if nothing had happened, and the girl herself simply said that she had almost finished everything. But he still understood perfectly well that he had to tell her about everything, otherwise this damn nightmare would continue to haunt him. Suddenly he just falls to his knees in front of her and begins to ask for forgiveness. While Su Min is simply shocked by such strange behavior, we finish our video. Thank you for watching, subscribe to the channel and like so that the new part will come out soon.